What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Big Five Pod, episode number 28. And we are getting real close to March. I'm, of course, your co-host, Kyle Morello, and next to me, my co-host, Jay Copestick. How we doing?
Quite frankly, I'm exhausted. I was just in Boston the last couple of days, and I drove both ways, and I'm kind of exhausted. But it's okay. March this year. We have 4 days, right? Not including today. 4 days left in
Yeah,
February, and then we're good.
yeah.
So we're almost here. We're gonna have conference tournaments in a couple of days. So I'm excited. Let's do it. We're
Let's
we're
do it.
almost there. We're almost at part three of the season. So we're winding down. I think I saw Joe's has like St. Joe's has like 2 games left in a regular season. And
And
then
so
we're
does
on the
Penn.
we're on the conference tournament, so we're right there, man. We're not at the finish line, but we're pretty much there.
We
It is
are
in, it is in view. So yeah, we're getting toward the end here, and I'm excited for what's to come.
very, very excited. So let's not delay any further. Why don't we just get into these games that happened this week? First one, we're starting off with a bang. Villanova upsetting Xavier on the road, 64 to 63. And this was the Justin Moore game. This was the game that he was officially back. 25 points, 10 of 13 from the field. Phenomenal in this one. The rest of the team didn't do great score wise. Obviously, they only had 64 points and he scored 25 of them. So not going to get a whole ton elsewhere. But Cam Whitmore was one of the other notable ones. 11 points on 4 of 11 from the field. They were out rebounded in this game, 34 to 26. But the biggest thing was that they forced 14 turnovers and they only had 7. So that was their key to victory in this one, along with, of course, the play of Justin Moore. And Xavier, they were up 13 at one point in this game. And Nova battled back and they ended up winning by 1 point. And this was the best win that they have had so far this year. Obviously they were against really good teams earlier in the season and they struggled. We talked about them playing in Portland earlier in the year, and then they've struggled against pretty much every good Big East team. They did beat Seton Hall, which was a good win for them. But it wasn't one of those upper echelon teams that we've been talking about. But this Xavier team is one of those upper echelon teams, and they were able to squeak out a victory. And it's good momentum going into the final to the third portion of the season, as you just mentioned. So, what were some good things you saw from the Wildcats in this one?
So in the second half, I'd say the best part about this game was not only Justin Moore's play, but as a team, defensively, it was night and day first half versus second half. First half, they really didn't pressure the ball. They allowed Xavier to kind of pass at ease, get whatever they wanted. Hence why they jumped out to a double-digit lead in the first half, and it looked like it could have got away from them. I mentioned how tough of a place the Cintas Center is to play, and when you go down that many, especially in a road environment, one as hostile as that, I mean, it's hard to come back. But defensively in the second half, they played with so much more energy. They defended the hell out of the ball. They pressured the ball every chance they got. They were rotating great on defense. Really didn't have any horrible lapses to give up really easy ones in a row. So that's what it came down to. Sule Boom, 12 points, 4-7 from the field, 4 boards at half. He was 1 of 5 in the second half. They did a way better job. 14 turnovers. They made Xavier turn it over that many times. 19 points off turnovers to only 2 for Xavier. That's where this game was won. They turned up the pressure defensively. Jordan Longino had a big and one late in the game when he was right on Adam Kunkel's hip. Ball goes right through his hand. They actually tried to foul Longino at half court, not even give him the layup, but Longino picked it up and was able to finish with an and one. So defensively, that was the best part about this game. You know about their scoring lapses late in games. Justin Moore changed that. He was terrific, easily his best game. He put up points, but it was on like 5 of 17. It wasn't exactly the most efficient. 10 of 13 with 25 points, that's as good as you can get it. If he's going to continue to play like this, we might have something on our hands here. I'm not ready to say that yet as far as this team's ready to win the Big East tournament after one game. I'm not ready to say that. But if they can finish out the year strong, they have a big game coming up Saturday. They can finish the year strong with a couple more wins, and he's playing like this, we might have something here. I'm not ready to say that just yet, but especially this late in the season with the tournament on the horizon, very encouraging win. Easily the best win of the Kyle Neptune era. Got some roadkill, really good win on the road going up to Cincinnati and winning there. A great second half, but defensively, to me, that was the best. Defensively in the second half, that was the best part of this game for Nova. And if they can continue to play like that with the pressure, not giving up easy buckets, being able to rotate, keep guys out of the paint, force tough shots, like I said, we might have some here. But a very good defensive second half, and that's what won Villanova this game.
Yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal second half defensively for Nova. And I think in terms of, tournament outlook and Big East tournament outlook and stuff like that, I think the one thing that Villanova has going for them in comparison to some of the other Big East teams is that they, all the other teams are solidified and be in, except for maybe Seton Hall. They're the one team that maybe, you know, they could use a little bit of help. But like, you talk about Xavier, Creighton, UConn, Marquette, all of those teams. Those teams are in the tournament. They're going to be playing in the tournament. Villanova is going to be desperate, and they can use that to their advantage and, maybe play a little bit like they have their backs against the wall, which you don't want to be in that position. But when teams are in that position, and you see it in every level of sports and every sport, especially in the postseason, it matters. And sometimes teams pull through that way. So maybe this Villanova team can do that. They have their backs against the wall, and they have for a while, but now they're starting to play some good basketball. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right. That was unfortunately the highlight of our week. And now there's a chance that that would have been the highlight anyway, beating the number 16 team in the country, but it all goes down from here. So we're going to start out with VCU coming to town and beating St. Joe's 88-63. This was not a good defensive performance from the Hawks here. One good offensive performance for the Hawks. Eric Reynolds, 21 points on 8 of 15 from the field. Nobody else was in double figures, unfortunately. And the star of this game was Jaden Dunn for VCU, 31 points. And you want to talk about Justin Moore's efficiency going 10 of 13? Jaden Dunn went 12 of 13 from the field, 31 points. That is insane. That's probably one of the best offensive performances we've had against one of the big five teams this year. So shout out to Jaden Dunn. Got to give credit where credit's due. VCU as a whole, they shot 52.5% from the field, while St. Joe's only shot 37.5%. And they shot 57.9% from three. And St. Joe's only shot 28.6% from three. And then, of course, to top it all off, St. Joe's 15 turnovers, VCU 9. So this was just an accumulation of things that did not go St. Joe's way. Obviously, the main difference is the shooting disparity. And usually St. Joe's plays a lot better at home, especially offensively, was not the case here. And they just got lit up by, as we talked about in the last episode, the best team in the A10. So I don't know what your takeaway is on this one, but mine is just that they got outclassed by a much better team.
They did. They did. You're exactly right. And VCU's number one for a reason. We know they're going to bring it defensively and all the numbers that they have. But they win the turnover battle, and then just a dominant offensive performance. Before the game, we found out that Kasper Klachik was going to return from a non-COVID illness after missing the last 6 games. Only 5 points, 24 minutes off the bench. You got to imagine it's going to take him a couple of games to get reacclimated after not playing for that long. And then we also found out that Ejike Obino was not going to play in this game. And that was huge because in a game where Charles Coleman did not play many minutes, they didn't have an answer for Jalen Deloach down low. They got killed on the perimeter with the 3-point shooting. And with Jaden Dunn having as good a game as I've seen anybody play this year as far as shooting the ball. I mean, he missed a free throw in the first half, and that was it. He was 9 of 9, 5 for 5 from 3 in the first half. But they didn't have an answer down low for Jalen Deloach. 19 points on 9 of 11, 7 boards. His physicality, his athleticism, his explosiveness, they just really didn't have an answer for it. Down low, whether that was Richie Fleming or putting Klachik on him, they didn't have an answer there. And then, the 3-point shooting, it's been a problem all year. Has been the 3-point defense and the way those defend the 3-point line. And like I said, culmination of a bunch of different things. VCU, they're the number one team in the A10 right now. They want that double bye. St. Joe's, they, missing a starter, which is key because they needed a big body down low, and it clearly hurt them. The turnover issues, 3-point defense, like you said, it's just kind of like a bunch of things kind of snowballed here. And when you play a team as good as VCU's been, I know this is a down year in the A10, but they're number one for a reason. Very good point guard and Ace Baldwin, who really didn't have that many points in this game. He did have a couple steals, which you got to expect, but killed on the 3-pointers. And that's, like I said, that's as good a game as I've seen. And Jaden, it's not like he cooled off in the second half. He was 9 of 9 to start. They finished 12 of 13. Did not miss from 3, with 7 of 7 in this game. I mean, he was just spectacular. So besides 9 offensive rebounds by both VCU and St. Joe's, VCU won every other category in this game. They outclassed them. They're the better team. This is only going to be a one-bid league. You have to be hungry because it doesn't matter who you are. You're not safe in this conference. You have to go to the Barclays Center, and you have to win every game you play if you want to get in the tournament. Play like the team that can certainly win in Brooklyn. in just a short time from now, and they're just a better team, unfortunately, especially with Obina being down. Klashik probably has to get reacclimated here. Just a way better team. Got to give them credit where it's due. They shot the lights out. Sometimes it happens, but culmination of kind of all St. Joe's flaws throughout the season, unfortunately, just kind of showed through here.
Yeah, and the one flaw we did talk about with them a lot this season was their 3-point defense. And granted, shooting almost 58% from three is probably not going to happen again. At least I will see this year, because that's just, I don't think I've ever seen something like that. I mean, that's just insane. But it has been a struggle for them all season long, and it got exposed by the best team in the conference. So just an unfortunate result here, but they will move on, and there's a little bit more to play for it toward the end of the year. So we'll move on from that. They played a really, really good team. Another team that played a really good team, though not on the same level, was LaSalle and Duquesne. And Duquesne came to town and beat the Explorers 91-74. One great performance, actually a couple great performances. One was Josh Nickelberry, who was the main star for LaSalle, 28 points and 7 of 15 from the field. And the Dramé brothers combined for 22 points themselves. So not terrible from them, but outside of that, not great. This was another game where there was a leaky defense from an A10 Philadelphia team. Duquesne shot 55% from the field, while LaSalle, only shot 40% from the field. And turnovers, not a huge issue, but they did get out. The turnover margin was not in their favor. LaSalle had 13 of them, and Duquesne had 10. Again, I think this was just another instance of Duquesne being a better team, though not on the same talent disparity, I guess, as VCU and St. Joe's. But Duquesne came into town. It's the second time this year that they've dropped 90 on a Philadelphia opponent at their home court. Just, we talked about in previous episodes that this Duquesne team's turnaround has just been phenomenal, and they showed it again here.
Yeah, look, I said it last episode because we just covered them last week. They ran over St. Joe's in Pittsburgh. They're not only a terrific offensive team with Tevin Brewer and Day Grant, Joe Reese, 26 points, 11 to 13, much like in the VCU St. Joe's game, they didn't have an answer. St. Joe's didn't have an answer for Jalen Deloach. Fortunately, LaSalle didn't have an answer here for Joe Reese. But we know about Duquesne's offense and how prolific they can be, not only in this game, because they shot for 55% from the field, but also in the St. Joe's game as well. But defensively, they were terrific. They forced a shot clock violation on the first possession. And LaSalle, like 3-4 of their first possessions, they all got the shot clock down to within 10. They couldn't get anything going. They really couldn't get to the basket. They had no open looks. So defensively is what makes this Duquesne team very scary. They can absolutely win the A10 this year. What a remarkable improvement. Keith Dambrot's done, like we mentioned last episode as well, and even when we talked about the Joe's game. And they're just kind of in a different tier than LaSalle is, unfortunately, right now in the A10. They're deep, 31 bench points for Duquesne, which kind of irrelevant when you look at LaSalle, and Nickelberry had 28 by himself, but a very, very balanced team when pretty much every player that steps in there puts up at least 5 points for him. So both sides of the ball, Duquesne just showed here why you can win the A10, why they're a better team. Josh Nickelberry kept Sal in here, but when you've Khalil Brantley go 1 for 10, Ricketts go 1 for 3, and your two guards get kind of locked up all night by a very active defense that played very well defending the ball, just a recipe for, definitely for a loss. So no shame. It's a team that's better than them. Unfortunately, they're, like I said, they're just in another tier. They're in a group of teams. I mean, it's a wide open league, but for me, like realistically, there's a group of teams that Duquesne is certainly in that can win this conference for sure. Play in the NCAA tournament. So they got beat by a better team here, a team that shot very well. Unfortunately, they didn't. Although Josh Nickelberry at 28, they just didn't get much offense from elsewhere. You have to credit that to Duquesne's defense. So a better team that beat them. Not a bad effort, so to speak, for LaSalle. Just a team that's better than them. They're very hot right now. They're playing. They've been a good team all year, but the last couple games they've been pretty damn good. So you run into a hot team that's playing well at the right time, results like this can happen. Just a really good team. And we've seen Duquesne play twice pretty recently. They look pretty lights out to me, like a team that can win. So, not a bad game from LaSalle. Just ran into a hot shooting team that's playing well right now and can certainly keep playing even after the Atlantic 10 tournament.
Yeah, like you said, they're a very hot team right now, and unfortunately, LaSalle and St. Joe's are both falling a little bit in the A10 standings. I believe LaSalle is ninth and St. Joe's is 10th. So as of right now, St. Joe's would be playing on that first day of the tournament of the A10 tournament at the Barclays Center. But hopefully, they can win the next couple games each and improve their position. Hopefully, avoid that first day because that would be an improvement from last year when they both did play on the first day. So we will see there. All right, this last game that happened this week, this was a little bit of a crusher. Not that Temple had any hopes anyway, but they did lose to Cincinnati 88 to 83 in overtime. This was a very, very good game. As we mentioned last episode, Caleb Battle did not play in this one, but Damian Dunn stepped up and helped provide scoring 34 points. I believe that is a season high on 9 of 21 from the field. Hyser Miller also helping out with 13 points on 5 of 11, and Zach Hicks 11 points and 7 rebounds in this one. I think not a really big disparity, but definitely a reason why Cincinnati won this game was free throw shooting, which is interesting because Temple's won some games with their free throw shooting this year. And they didn't do bad. They went 7 of 23 from the line, but Cincinnati went 28 of 30. When you're making 11 more free throws than your opponent and you're shooting 7 more free throws than your opponent, there's a good chance you're going to win the game when all things else are equal. And they were pretty much equal if you look at the team stats of these games. So, especially including turnovers, since he had 9 and Temple at 8, which is pretty low for both teams. So, this was a tough one. Obviously, Temple doesn't have the same team that they've had pretty much the entire year with Caleb Battle being out. It is a notable subtraction for right now. Even though Damian Dunn, back starting for a few games and he's stepping up in his scoring, which is great to see. But it's going to be tough sledding. Now Temple keeps dropping a little bit in the American standings. I believe they're fifth right now. They're fifth. I think they're fifth. I know they were ahead of Cincinnati. Now they're behind Cincinnati. So it's going to be a little bit of a struggle going to the American tournament for them. But they did battle in this game. They did fight, and ultimately they fell up short in this one.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Without Battle in the lineup and Shane Zoni still hurt, which in this game is big because the game goes to overtime. He had 4 guys play 40 minutes. Jaleel White's he's been playing, but he's got to still be banged up with the ankle injury that he's had, and he only played 15 minutes in this game. So depth is, I think, certainly kind of becoming an issue now when you look at if Battle was out, they could at least slide Shane Zoni in there and he could play a little bit. They really only played for the most part, almost about a couple minutes. But besides, it was really down to 7 guys. So it's going to be tough for them because I don't think at this point they can be able in the American, especially short-handed like this. But I got to give them credit here. They did fight. I thought Cincinnati would actually win this game by a pretty sizable margin. I didn't think it would only be 5 points. They win by more. So for Temple to go in there, make it close, push this game to overtime. I don't believe this is Damian Dunn's season high. I think he had 38 in the Vanderbilt game.
Okay.
Shot a ton of free throws. But yeah, no, it's damn close. And if they're going to be close, if they're going to be competitive in these games and they're going to win these games coming down the stretch here, they're going to need Damian Dunn to step up. And he doesn't have to go nuclear every night, but they're going to need him to be very consistent. And now that he's back in the starting lineup, he's the focal point of the offense now. Another really good game from Hyser Miller too. He's another guy not only for the rest of this season but going forward into next season, and hopefully he spends 2 more years here at Temple. He's going to be huge for this team. They're going to need him to be more aggressive on offense. I believe he had 9 assists in this game. Good job facilitating as well. He's a guy that even if the season looks lost right now, they don't have an at-large. Doesn't really look great for them to the automatic bid in the American tournament. He's a guy I just want to see be more aggressive down the stretch. They're going to need him. He did a great job in this game. I got to give him credit because I didn't think this game would be that close. So it's unfortunate with everything that's going on with Caleb Battle stepping away. Who knows if we'll be back? It certainly doesn't sound like it. That's at least how I'm interpreting it.
Me too.
That being the case, just unfortunate because they did have some really good spurts this year where you thought that if they could sustain that level of play, they could be really good and potentially sneak in the tournament. Just doesn't look like it's going to happen. So hopefully they can finish strong. But good game from Damian Dunn, good game from Hyser Miller. You can at least take that away. But overall, good effort in Cincinnati.
Yeah, great effort. Like I said, just fell short. And as we've been talking about the last few episodes, I think their tournament chances are toast unless they pull out a miracle and win the American tournament.
Yeah, no, it's You got to win it
I don't
all,
see
or
it
it's
happening.
or bust. I mean,
Yeah.
Dayton right now is like on the bubble, and if Dayton's on the bubble, there's
Yeah.
no way to tell.
So it's unfortunate. Hopefully everything's okay with Caleb Battle too. I mean, definitely don't want to see him missing games. Hopefully that gets sorted out. But like you said, I don't know if I see him coming back at this point this year. Um, so we'll see what happens. But all right, Cope, you ready for this one?
Yep.
We are in the final weekend of regular season college basketball this year.
Oh man. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun
Time flies and you're having fun.
though.
So listen, I mean, the first conference tournament started on the 27th, and we're recording this on the 24th, so it's 3 days. And you got one more what's it called? One more weekend. Or actually, I think there's some games that happen next or late next weekend, but this is for everyone in college basketball. This is the final weekend of everyone playing regular season games. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. Creighton traveling to the Wells Fargo Center, taking on Villanova Saturday at noon. And this Creighton team, though they've had a couple of tough games that they've dropped recently, they're playing really, really good basketball, and they're really a good basketball team. So 12th in KenPom, they're 27th on offense, 11th on defense, which is important to note because I believe all but one of the teams in the KenPom era have finished, who have won the championship, I should say, have finished top 25 in both offense and defense. So very important that they're right on the cusp of that there. Some other stats: they're 31st in effective field goal percentage, they're 24th in 2-point percentage, they're 42nd in free throw percentage. They are 11th in allowing offensive rebounds. However, they're 278th in offensive rebound percentage on offense themselves. And kind of the same thing for free throw attempts per field goal attempts. They're second in the country defensively in that metric, but however, offensively, they're 297th. So mostly things they do well, a couple that they don't there. But this Creighton team is really, really great. And although Villanova's been playing a lot better, and I'm sure Justin Moore will help in this one, I think it's just a different animal, and I'm going to take Creighton in this one. What do you think?
Man, it's really tempting to take Villanova, but I don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction to to one game. Although it was a great win on the road, they were
It
shorthanded. They didn't
was.
have Zach Fremantle, who had 29 points and 11 rebounds in the last meeting. He was the best player on the court that game. And without him, Jerome Hunter is just not the same offensive guy that obviously Fremantle is. So I'm going to roll with you, and I'm going to take Creighton as well. The key here is really the X factor. You look at the last time they played, Nova did turn the ball over 12 times. It isn't horrible, but they're not a team that does it often. So I mean, it gets projected a little bit, and it becomes a bigger issue when you see a number like that. But they just really had a problem with Ryan Kalkbrenner on both ends of the court. 16 points. He shoots the high. He's got the highest field goal percentage in America. Most of it comes at the rim. He's just so big. 7 of 11 from the field, has 16 points, 5 boards, 3 blocks in this game. I mean, on offense, Villanova just doesn't have a guy with the sheer size that's big enough. What do you got to make him build? And it's way easier said than done, obviously. Eric Dixon's a way bigger guy than him as far as like strength goes. And the last time I saw Creighton play, they were playing Providence. If you make Ryan Kalkbrenner catch the ball out, I mean, Ed Croswell's a big guy from Providence, but he's got trouble like really backing somebody down totally strong that's got some strength on him. So try and make Ryan Kalkbrenner, and they're going to try and get him lob attempts in the pick and roll. But if you can make him catch outside the paint and have to back his way in, that's the way you got to defend him. You got to make him catch the ball outside the paint. Don't give him those easy ones. But obviously, it's easier said than done. The guy's just so big. No wonder he shoots that well. But defensively as well, really bothered Eric Dixon. Although he had 20 points in this game, 7 of 18, hit of 9 boards. Really, really battled against one of the best centers in the sport. But his sheer size on both ends anchors their defense. On offense is a problem. For me, that's where this game is definitely going to be won. So it's really tempting to take Villanova because I hope they have one last run on them and there's a little spark here. But I'm going to take the Blue Jays. Kalkbrenner, the difference for me. Very, very good starting five. We mentioned the last time they played. This is a very thin Creighton team. Really only going to play 5 guys, but it's 5 really damn good. So in a close one, I'll take Creighton. Would love it if Villanova wins this game. I have a feeling that they might, but I'm still gonna roll with the Jays here to go into the Wells Fargo Center and continue their march toward the tournament.
Yeah, I would love it too, but like you said, Kalkbrenner's just a handful, and I don't know if anyone on Villanova can stop him. So I am going to go with Creighton as well, like we said. But it'll be hopefully Villanova wins. It'll be a good game. We shall see. All right. Moving on to the Palestra. Dartmouth is coming to town Saturday at 2 o'clock. And this isn't the greatest team in the world. This is definitely a team that Penn should beat. They're 276th in KenPom, 321st in offensive efficiency. And I'm bringing back one of my favorite notes. Whole lot of red. Whole lot of red offensively, a whole lot of red defensively too. The one thing I will say defensively, they're 132nd in defensive 3-point percentage, which could be useful against a team like Penn, who's got a lot of scoring options, mainly obviously Jordan Dingle and Clark Slacker. But this is definitely a game that Penn can and should win at home, and I am going to take them to win this one. They're going to continue their hot streak in the Ivy League and continue toward getting toward one of those top 4 seeds that they're currently locked into. I believe there's a 3-way tie for first place, and hopefully, some things shake out their way that they can be one of those top 2 teams, or hopefully the top team in the Ivy League tournament. So I'm going with Penn here. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to agree with you. I think this is the ultimate revenge spot as well. It's 2 teams go in 2 different directions here. Now, Dartmouth actually beat Penn in their last meeting at Dartmouth, but since then, they're now second to last in the conference at 5-7, 9-17 overall. They've lost 4 of their last 5. Obviously, this Penn team is screaming hot. So I'm absolutely going to take Penn. Not only is it a great spot for them because they're so good at home, they're playing a team that's struggling. It's a revenge spot. It's the ultimate spot for Penn to continue their win streak. It's senior day. They're going to be honoring some guys. So you look at the last game too. Jordan Dingle, 5 of 18, 1 of 10 from 3. Clark Slacker, 8 points, 0 of 4 from 3. Jordan Dingle had 2 or 3 looks at the end of this game to potentially tie or put Penn ahead. And he missed them all. I think this is a game where not only Jordan Dingle, but Clark Slacker, who's been playing well, they have very good games. For me, it's like literally the ultimate spot for Penn. They're at home, a team that's reeling. It's a revenge spot because they owe them from early in Ivy League play. So I'm absolutely all over Penn this game. I think they're going to win it big. They're going to continue their streak. And if they're not already in an Ivy League spot, this win seals it for them. You add in that as a motivational factor. I absolutely love the Quakers this weekend, Kyle. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm excited to be there. But I'm just not being at the Palestra because this is the last game. However, I will be at the Catholic League Championship Monday, so I'll be there for that. But literally, you could not ask for a better spot. If you're the Quakers, I think they'll win big. They'll solidify their spot in the Ivy League tournament, and that leaves them with 1 game left to play coming up in Princeton. So love the Quakers in this spot. Perfect one.
And that will be a very, very, very big game at Princeton. But can't overlook Dartmouth. Obviously, they lost them earlier in the year. And I know the teams are going in 2 different directions, but definitely not a spot to overlook them. But I definitely think, like you said, it's a great spot for the Quakers.
That's like the one knock on the spot, I guess, is that they have,
so it could be a
look-ahead
spot for
Princeton. So I think that game's Monday. That game's coming up. It's not going to be played next weekend. I think it's on Monday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely a look ahead spot, but there's so many other factors in this game that I think are going Penn's way that they win it dominantly because their 2 best players didn't play well there. So I can't emphasize it enough, but I absolutely love this.
I mean, I think
everything is aligned.
The biggest factor for Penn is the fact that they're playing really good basketball right now, and they're the better basketball team. That's the biggest factor for Penn. So that'll be a good one, and you'll have to let me know how that is, and definitely keep us updated on what the environment's like there, because that'll be a lot of fun, I'm sure. All right, now we've got a couple of road games for our A10 teams. First, we got LaSalle traveling to your favorite spot, Foggy Bottom, taking on GW. Saturday at 6. This GW team has definitely had a little bit of an up and down season in the A10. They're 219th in KenPom. They have a pretty good offense, all things considered, 120th in offensive efficiency. They're 15th in 2-point percentage. Some things they don't do well, though. They're 277th in defensive effective field goal percentage. They're 262nd in offensive rebound percentage. And they're 215th in defensive turnover percentage. So they do not cause a lot of turnovers, which would definitely play into LaSalle's hands. Because LaSalle is a team that does have a little bit of a tendency to turn the ball over, though they've been doing well lately. And obviously, this is a LaSalle team that beat George Washington a few weeks ago. That was at the start of their 5-game winning streak that obviously got ended. And now they're on a 2-game losing streak, unfortunately. But I think this is a pretty good spot for LaSalle, trying to bounce back, going on the road. I definitely think it'll be a tough matchup, but I definitely think, we talk about these teams and matchups and everything, but there's an old saying, styles make fights, even if one team might be better than the other. And I don't know if I would say that this George Washington team is better than LaSalle, but they're probably around the same level. But I think that LaSalle is a difficult matchup for George Washington. So I'm going to take the Explorers here. It will be a tough environment on the road, but I think they can get it done. So I'm going to go with LaSalle here. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. The thing about the GW team, they're not very deep. You look at the last time they played, LaSalle was able to win this game by double digits at home. Shot almost 50% as a team. They out rebounded them. Both teams did 16 turnovers, so you can't really take anything away from that when it's that even. Now it is a lot of turnovers, but when it's even like that, it's kind of whatever. But James Bishop and Brendan Adams, the two guys that make this offense go for GW, combined 8 of 27 last time these two teams played at Tom Gold Arena. I'm sure that number will go up and they're due for a little positive regression, but Sal's got bodies they can throw at you. They're just a way deeper team. And if they can turn, the thing is LaSalle can steal the ball a little bit on offense or on defense, excuse me. If that's the case, and you're going to lock up these two guys again, and they're going to struggle, and they're just going to be firing. I think they can absolutely win this game. So I think it'll be close going down the foggy bottom. I love saying that. It's so fun.
I know you do.
But
I know you do.
I'm gonna roll with the Explorers here. Even though they've lost the last two games, I think they get it right here. Season sweep of GW, but they play like they did last time because it's not like they, as a team, sure they shot almost 10, but Khalil Brantley 4 of 14 in this game. He struggled. I think he's also due for a better game as well. So give me the Explorers to go on the road and get some roadkill down in Foggy Bottom.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. All right, we got one more roadkill, as we like to call it. St. Joe's traveling up to St. Bonaventure, Sunday at noon. A little bit about this Bonnie's team: 193rd in Ken Palm, they're 258th in offense, 115th in defense. So defense is definitely their strong suit. They're 253rd in effective field goal percentage. They're 202-point percentage. They're 342nd in defensive free throw attempts per field goal attempts, which is obviously there's 363 teams in Division One college basketball, so that is not great. However, they are 12th in defensive 3-point percentage, which is definitely, we just talked about St. Joe's struggling mightily against VCU, and that was at home from three. And they're going on the road now, and I don't know. Actually, so here's the thing. I think matchup wise, it's not a great one for St. Joe's. So I think even just matchup wise, I might take St. Bonaventure. If it was at home, maybe I would take St. Joe's. But I was looking at Olean on the map because I honestly hadn't. I had an image in my head of where I thought it was in New York, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna look because I'm actually in New York right now. I'm on Long Island, so I was like, let me see how far Olean is from me right now, and it was like 6.5 hours, which obviously I'm on Long Island. You have to go through the city and everything like that, but it is really in the middle of nowhere. Like we've talked about before, right above the border of Pennsylvania, right into New York. Um, just in the middle of nowhere. I don't see St. Joe's going up there the way that they've been playing lately and beating a team that's probably, they're on the same level, but they're a really good defensive team, and I think they're going to give them problems, especially at home. And I wouldn't want to travel up there. It does not seem fun, especially with this weather that we've been having lately. So all of those factors involved, I'm going to take St. Bonaventure in this one. Obviously, St. Bonaventure says you can make an argument for one of the best coaches in the conference too. So I'm going to go with the Bonnies. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. It's all like I've said a bajillion times. It's very tough to win on the road in conference play, win on the road in general, and then you have to go up there all the way up to the middle of absolutely nowhere and go up against Mark Schmidt. The Bonnies are definitely going to have the coaching advantage in this game, and if they're not going to defend the 3-point line well, that guy's going to have a bunch of sets and a bunch of plays coming at us. I mentioned the last time when LaSalle went up there, watch this guy after timeouts. Like he's going to draw up some good stuff. If he can draw up plays and they can run sets, like they're gonna get open looks. Another thing I want to monitor here is Educate Obina going to play in this game because Bonnie's got a big and Chad Venning who's going to be able to hurt him if they don't have bodies to throw at him. Oh, that's another thing to monitor. We'll make sure we keep you updated on that. If Prosper Patrick, it's smart if there's no Obina in this game. I don't know. So there's a couple different things here, but yeah, if you have a team that defends the 3-point line well, they don't shoot it horribly themselves. Harold Banks can really score. Tyrell Luke's very quick. You're not going to he can do to attack closeouts and so I'm going to roll with the Bonnies as well. Tough place to play on the road. Got to go far. Tough environment. Don't know what the health situation of this team is. Coming off a drubbing the other night by you. I'm going to roll with the Bonnies here. They got the better coach there at home. Now the thing is, they've lost a couple of games at home. They lost to LaSalle, just lost to GW at the Riley Center. So it's not like it's like a impossible. I'm still going to roll with the Bonnies here. Coaching advantage. They defend the threes well. If St. Joe's isn't going to shoot the lights out and Cameron Brown and Lingrier aren't going to have better shooting games, I don't see how they're going to win this game. But we'll get you an update on Educate Urbina's health as soon as we can. But with all that being said, I'm going to agree with you and roll with the Bonnies here at home.
Yeah, I mean, not that it's like an insanely possible place to play, like you said, but I just don't see them going up there at the state that the team is right now with some of the injuries and some of the health concerns, obviously with Kasper Klacic just getting back and their poor shooting obviously was against the best team in the conference, and the Bonnies are not that, but they're a good defensive team, and they're gonna have to travel for this one. So I'm gonna take the Bonnies as well. No Temple Owls this weekend. They actually have about a week off. I
Really?
believe they don't play until March 2nd, and they play again on the 5th. So a little break from the Owls here, which isn't the worst thing the way that they've been playing. I know they played a tough one against Cincinnati, but a little break from the Owls. So we'll focus on these other four teams. And that's pretty much all I got. Like I said, last full slate of regular season college basketball. Obviously, on March, on the 4th and 5th will be the last weekend that the teams that haven't started their conference tournaments yet will be playing. So we'll have another weekend of that. But other than that, that's all I got. Anything else for you?
No, nothing from me. Excited to go watch the Quakers again. They're hot. They're our best shot if we want to see a Big Five team playing the tournament. Unless somebody really runs the table here, let's go Quakers, baby. That's our best shot if we want to be talking about the Big Five come the NCAA tournament. So I'm excited to be there tomorrow. Last home game of the year, even though I'll be there Monday for after the senior night. Last home game of the year. Very, very excited to watch the Quakers tomorrow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I won't be there, unfortunately, but I will be following and hopefully be watching. I don't know where it's televised, probably ESPN Plus, so I'll have to look for that. Yeah, that's all I got too. Thank you guys for tuning in so much. As always, we very much appreciate your support throughout this entire season. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on our social medias at Big Five Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, be sure to listen to our audio only versions on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And yeah, we're gonna keep this rolling through the end of this college basketball season and further. Of course, we're not just gonna stop when the games stop, but hopefully we have a team playing in March. Obviously, the Quakers are our best shot, like you said. Let's go Quakers, and we're hoping for some more wins this weekend. So with that being said, we will see you guys next week.